and welcome to Cox Local Edition on CNN Headline News. I'm Catherine Falk with Cox Communications. Thank you so much for joining us today. We have a wonderful guest, Tony Sudler, who is the President and CEO of the Alzheimer's Association for the National Capital Chapter. Thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me.
Tell us about what the Alzheimer's Association does.
Well, basically, we serve as the one-stop shop for people with Alzheimer's disease. We do research to find a cure. While we're doing that, we provide care, support, education for families and people with the disease.
Great, and your offices are located right here in Fairfax.
That is correct. That is correct.
Tell us, how does Alzheimer's affect someone's life?
In many ways. First of all, we all know about the confusion and the memory loss that a person goes through. Now that we're seeing many more cases of Alzheimer's that are early onset and early stage, we're finding that people are losing their jobs. People are having to be cared for by their adult children. They lose their independence. And as the caregiver, you're faced with having to make decisions on a daily basis for an aging parent. And that's truly a challenge.
And Tony, you mentioned people are getting it earlier and earlier. How early? Do you mean like 50s?
No, we know many cases of people in their 30s.
Wow, that's
and it's scary because those are people with children, and now they're facing this dreaded disease.
And so when somebody gets the disease, it means that there are lots of things that are impacted in the family as far as having to care for them.
Absolutely. Most of the times, the families end up having to deal with total care. Even though the person is still able to many times go out and drive, et cetera, the families have to set up systems that will allow them to maintain as much of their independence as possible. And then as the disease progresses, of course, we get into more actual hands-on day-to-day care. And
so what do the families do? Get assistance or daycare or?
All of those things. It's really important that families work with our organization to develop a true plan of action for the person they are caring for. Often that is making sure that they have a care management plan, making sure that they have emotional supports, making sure that adult day centers are involved. It's truly a long journey that planning and preparation is the most important step.
And you mentioned that there's also a big impact on the local community and that our community has a high number of people with this disease.
Yes, at this point in time, we estimate that nearly 80,000 individuals have Alzheimer's disease. Those are the cases that we know that are diagnosed.
Just in this area?
Yes, we know that there are more without it. Nationwide, it's 5.2 million people with the disease. So if you look at the number of people who are caregiving in the local area, there's nearly 250 local individual caregivers, and within those 80,000 families that are dealing with the disease.
Great. So how can I prevent myself from getting Alzheimer's, Tony?
Well, we wish we had a prevention. At this point in time, even though we're researching for a cure, we don't have a prevention, but what we do have is some good advice to help people maybe reduce the onset of the disease. Basically, we like to say what's good for the heart is good for the head. So if you eat well, you exercise, you understand your cholesterol, blood pressure numbers, and things like that, that it may reduce the time frame that you may get the disease.
Great. And tell us about how people can learn more about the Alzheimer's Association and all the great work you're doing and donate money and volunteer and all those great things.
Well, basically, go to our website, alz.org, click on Becoming a Champion in this community, and those are the people who get involved and really help fight the disease.
Wonderful. Tony Sudler from the Alzheimer's Association National Capital Chapter, thank you for joining us. And thank you for joining us on Cox Local Edition on CNN Headline News. Have a great day.